What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, back at it with another video. And today is actually your boy's birthday, and I will be doing my always usual birthday monthly check. And for those who do not know what my monthly check is, every single month, I do a ranking of all the movies that I saw last month from the worst to the best, including the new releases, and also movies that other people have seen that I have not seen before. After that, we also followed up with my overhaul, which is the new stuff that I got over the coming month, and as well, after that, we go over the new pictures that I have on the ceiling that I drew, which, unfortunately, there were no ones this month. July was actually a pretty busy month, so I do apologize. And I do think for the new release movies, I think I certainly did watch much less movies than I intended to. So just keep that in mind, because, like, I missed out on House on Eden. I missed, that one, what's that movie called? The Home, I think that's what it was called, the one horror movie that released, the week of Fantastic Four First Steps that has what's that guy's name? He voiced a robot in Transformers: Rise of the Beast, one of the Autobots.
Pete Davidson.
I completely forgot what his name was. Yeah, I missed that. And then as well, there were a couple streaming movies I missed, which I was planning to watch yesterday, but I just didn't have enough time to watch them. Like, for example, I wanted to watch the Jaws documentary. I wanted to watch the newest Medea film that they added to Netflix, and there is Brick that I wanted to watch too, but just didn't get around to it, unfortunately, because I was trying to catch myself on other movies that had previous movies before them. So anyways, before we can touch the beginning of the monthly check itself, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, number two, also maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, and recommend the video to more people, maybe they could join. Excuse me. That's the oxygen. And do feel free to comment your monthly checks down below. With that being said, guys, let's go into And last month I saw a total of 18 movies. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 of them were new releases, which actually I do pat myself on the back. I caught up a little bit. Let's just get this ranking started, shall we? Coming in at number 18, I have What the Smurf? The Smurfs. Which is currently, I would say, in my top 10 worst movies of the year thus far. It's not in my bottom 5 just because the one thing that holds it back from getting an F review for me is I do think the animation sometimes looked decent, like enough where I was going like, okay, that looks fine. And then some of the songs were fine, I guess, because they were done by Rihanna, so she has whether you like her or not, she has a really good voice. So, but terrible movie otherwise. For some reason they kept the template of the past Smurfs movies, where from the trailers originally I thought they were gonna stick to the animated tone of the Smurfs, but nope, they decided to go into the real world and have actually live action people in this movie, which I think falls flat on its face. All the voice acting was terrible, and none of them felt like they fit the characters that they were playing, especially Rihanna as Smurfette. She did not fit that character at all. Yeah, overall, just a very complete misfire, and I already had low expectations for this movie going in, and they ended up going below my expectations. So, yeah, pretty bad. Coming in at number 17, also bad, but this was actually a movie that came out earlier this year in January, but I missed out on, which I'm kind of glad I did, and it is In the Lost Lands. So this is like a post-apocalyptic action horror sci-fi movie with Dave Bautista and what are the other two actors? Paul W.S. Anderson. I'm pretty sure that's the director's name. He directed the Monster Hunter movie that's based off a video game. He directed a bunch of the Resident Evil movies, and his wife's in this movie too. That was the main character of those films. And yeah, it was pretty bad too, but I'd much rather rewatch this than Smurfs. There is a very obvious twist reveal that happens in this movie where I was just going, yeah, like, that is the most obvious reveal of obvious reveals. Even casual moviegoers would probably guess that would end up happening. The fight sequences themselves, not impressive. The movie is extremely low budget, and you can tell, especially with the green screen and CGI in this, because Wolf. And, it does have some, even though I do think this movie's bad, I think it does have some interesting world building. But other than that, yeah, pretty terrible. Coming in at number 16, we have the first of 3 Zombies movies that I watched last month. So, Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampire came out on Disney+, which I had watched the first Zombies movie before, so I basically said, oh, I'll watch the first movie, then I'll watch the 3 other sequels that I missed out on. That I didn't even know it was this big of a franchise to begin with. And coming at number 16, I have Zombies 3. For me, this was easily the most forgettable out of the 3 movies, and I do think, like, some of the musical numbers were fine. Like, I didn't hate them, and then the acting was okay for the characters. However, I'm just not a really big fan of this franchise, because it feels as if they're trying to do the same thing that High School Musical and the Descendants movies did, and kind of try to make this the new big franchise for Disney+. Originally, it was supposed to be for Disney Channel. And yeah, it kind of fell flat on its face. This was actually, but for positives though, I do think, so this was actually the first Zombies movie that was on Disney+, because Zombies 1 and Zombies 2 were both on Disney Channel. So I think for that reason, you can definitely tell it's a little more higher in budget. So like the actual town that all the monsters live in actually looks pretty decent compared to the earlier movies. And I do think it's kind of a mixed negative really, but they had a point where I thought they were going to end the movie one way, and I was going, actually that would be a nice way to end the movie, but then they keep on going and go like, no, that's not going to end up that's not going to be how we end our Zombies franchise. So they decided to make more movies after that. So coming in at number 16, I have Zombies 3. Number 15 though, I have Zombies 2, which from here on up, I gave these movies 2.5. So keep that in mind. So I think Zombies 2 is a little bit of a step up compared to Zombies 3, but still, it's not necessarily a good movie either. I liked the werewolves getting introduced in here, and even though I think they're making too many of these movies, I think the whole entire world itself of monsters and humans coexisting is interesting, so seeing that further explored, I do like. However, it's just forgettable. Like, I'm not even going to remember these movies. So, coming at number 15, Zombies 2. Number 14, not a Zombies movie, but it is a sequel, and that is none other than the sequel to the legendary Happy Gilmore, of course, Happy Gilmore 2. Which, this had it for a lot of, interesting conversations online for sure, where people hate each other for either liking the movie or hating the movie. I ended up somewhere in the middle. I think it's perfectly watchable, but then again, it's not anything great. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad, because I do think there were some redeeming qualities about this. Some of the moments in the movie did make me laugh. I think that Adam Sandler does good in the role, and he kind of fits right back in as Happy Gilmore. Christopher McDonald, I'm pretty sure that's what the actor's name is, that plays Shooter McGavin in here. You can tell he's having a blast. I think also the supporting cast in here as well is pretty funny, where you have Bad Bunny, especially, where he kind of gave me a bunch of the laughs throughout the movie, which I'm a fan of him with his wrestling and stuff, and I do like some of his songs. As well, speaking of wrestling, you have MJF in here as a more side role as one of MJF's sons, and he was quite funny in his little tiny role, and I think the whole entire sons of Adam Sandler were pretty funny. I do like the second half more than the first half, where you have the actual golf tournament, where it's more of a modern day golf setting. I do enjoy that, but a whole lot of the jokes weren't funny to me, where they have, especially the first part of the movie, they make this decision to basically kill off a character from the first Happy Gilmore, which is just so stupid and came out of nowhere just for a laugh, which it wasn't that funny to begin with. And yeah, as I said before, I don't hate it, I don't love it either. It's just fine. I still love the first Happy Gilmore movie a whole lot, but this one, it's if anybody put this on, I wouldn't complain, but it's still not a good movie. Number 13, I have Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampire, which I guess the reason why I have this above Zombies 3 and 2 is just because I'm more of a vampire person than I am, well, werewolves are close, but they kind of botched the werewolves. But with the zombies, the vampire, I guess that adds for a little bonus for me, because I do like vampires, so there's that. I think this has a really good soundtrack, especially the main vampire and Daywalker song that they have with Zed and I forgot what the character's name was, but they have a good soundtrack here too. So Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampire, yeah, it's fine. If my kids down the line, of course, my future kids down the line wanted to watch this movie, sure, I wouldn't hate it. Number 12, and this would probably be the last one. No, actually, no, there's two more. Or one more after this, I should say. And number 12, I have The Old Guard 2. So these were both first-time watches. The first Old Guard, which is a little more higher than this one, but I do enjoy that more than this one. This one is perfectly watchable as well. It's a solid enough, entertaining action movie, but it's not anything great. So I'll just leave it at that, because there's nothing really else to talk about. It's basically forgettable. Number 11, I have the last okay movie, I would say, and that is Fantastic Four from 1994, which originally going into this movie, I thought I was going to hate it, because most people do not like this movie. Yeah, and it wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be. Still, does that mean it's a good movie, though? No. I did, however, kind of enjoy watching it, just going back in time to see how the older Marvel movies were made with this. And you can watch it for free on YouTube if you're wondering where you can watch it, because it's very hard to find. Yeah, it was entertaining. I think the aesthetic of the movie kind of feels as if it's taken straight from the comic book, so it has that going for it, making it very pleasing to the eyes, I guess, as a comic book fan, where it feels like they're taken straight out of the animated TV show at the time or the comic book. So, yeah, it's fine. But now I would say I would get into the movies I like. Coming in at number 10, I have the first Old Guard. I thought this was solid enough. I had a good time with this, and I think the concept itself is very, very interesting, where you have these essentially military soldiers that have the ability to live forever, essentially. So I think that added for an interesting story. However, it is completely generic. I will agree with you there. Number 9, I have, probably a hot take on this list. I have Eddington, and I would just like to clarify here, I don't think this is a bad movie. Like I said, I said I do like this movie. However, it is a movie that I'm going to constantly rewatch over and over again or rewatch anytime soon. No. And it is not the type of movie that's made for me. Where I think the performances are good, it is a very, very, very well-made movie. However, the film essentially tells two halves of the story but the two halves are completely different movies, they feel, in my mind. So that kind of added for some tonal whiplash, where in the second act of the movie they're going, oh, well, we're going to go this direction now, where it just felt as if that was just odd to have in this movie. So number 9, Eddington. Number 8, I have Jurassic World Rebirth, which, for those who do not know, the first Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. As for the franchise as a whole, though, I think it is not one of the best franchises out there. I've stated that on multiple times. The Jurassic World is essentially the only one I love besides the original film. However, all the other ones I can pretty much take or leave. The Lost World, I think, is boring. I think that movie's a little overrated, to be honest with you. Jurassic Park 3, I have a guilty pleasure with. It's not the greatest movie, but I have an entertaining time with that. Fallen Kingdom, I think, is easily the worst of the franchise, while still being watchable, but it is the worst of the franchise for me. Jurassic World Dominion, I'm a little more higher on than most people. I don't think it's absolutely horrible. I still think it's watchable, and I do like it. However, it still has a laundry list of problems. Jurassic World Rebirth, I kind of was on the middle on, but I do think I like it as well. It's certainly an entertaining movie. I like the cast that you got with this movie with Scarlett Johansson. I forgot the guy's name was from Wicked, but Jonathan Bailey, there you go. Where I think his character was interesting. You also have Mahershala Ali too, where he was good in this too. The D-Rex as a villain, I think I've warmed up on a little tiny bit because I think the design of it is interesting, and how they end the movie with it, I thought was actually pretty decent, where we could possibly further explore this down the line. However, this movie focuses on this other family, which I kind of just, I did not want to follow them. There was especially this one boyfriend character that I did not care to follow at all. He was just a weird anomaly in the movie. But there are some really, really good sequences in the movie, I will say. But yeah, coming in at number 8, Jurassic World Rebirth. Number 7, I have Heads of State. It's a dumb movie, but oh boy, is it a fun one, where you essentially have Idris Elba as the Prime Minister of Canada, I believe, and then you have John Cena as the President, where they're both on the run, and trying to go back to the White House or go back to their respective lands, while still getting chased down by a bunch of assassins, essentially. And it was entertaining. As well, Jack Quaid has a little small role in this movie that I thought was fun. I think the banter back and forth between John Cena and Idris Elba was entertaining, and they had pretty good chemistry with one another, where if we got Heads of State 2, I wouldn't mind. I would be entertained by that one as well. So Heads of State comes in here at number 7. Just edging out the top 5, at number 6, I have The Naked Gun, which I went into this movie and watched it yesterday, and I had not watched any of the previous movies in this franchise, so basically it was brand new to the franchise, which I'm kind of glad I walked in a little brand new. And it was funny. It was very, very funny. The only thing holding it back is it is a very dumb movie, and it doesn't take itself too seriously at times, which it for the movie it's going for, it shouldn't really do that. So, but which it's kind of to the film's credit. But I think a lot of the jokes went over my head a little bit. But Liam Neeson was fun in the main lead role. I thought there were some there are a bunch of different segments that did have me laughing, though. So number 6, I have The Naked Gun. Number 5, I have I Know What You Did Last Summer. Probably another hot take on this list, but I actually really enjoyed this. I think this was actually a really solid legacy sequel, where I'm not that big of a fan of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. I still like it, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's anything great. But this ended up actually being my favorite of the franchise, which I know is quite shocking to say. Because the one thing that made me enjoy this the most, I think, is just because how balls out it goes in the final act of the movie with the reveals. That's all I'll say. I'm not gonna say what ends up happening because spoilers, but I thought it was an interesting direction to go. Did they really pay it off? No, not really. But I do think they did decent enough with it. I think this has the goriest kills of the franchise. Well, that's still not really a high bar in it in this franchise to begin with, but I still think has the goriest kills of the franchise. I think what else? I forgot everything I thought about this movie. I think I did do a review for it, or did I do a short, I think, theater reaction? I totally forgot, but I have more in-depth thoughts in my Letterboxd review, so be sure to check that out. I will admit, however, the script in here is very, very terrible, especially with the dialogue and everything, so just keep that in mind. I totally agree that the dialogue in here is terrible. Number 4, I have The Bad Guys 2, which yesterday I actually ended up doing a double feature with The Naked Gun and this. And yeah, it was funny too. I don't think it's as great as the first Bad Guys. I thought the first Bad Guys was actually a really, really good surprise, and I enjoyed that movie quite a bit. This one, I think, is a step down, but I still think it's a really, really good animated movie. The animation, of course, as always from DreamWorks, is really good with this film here. The characters are still entertaining. Yeah, overall, it's a solid enough time where both families and children can enjoy it at the same exact time. Or adults and children can enjoy it at the same time. Now we're in the top 3, people. Number 3, I actually have a movie I missed out on last year, which I know a whole lot of people are going to go like, you missed this movie in theaters? Yeah, I did. And it is Challengers with Zendaya, or as they marketed it, the threesome with Zendaya. And it was interesting. It was a very, very well-made movie. And I do think it is great. The one thing that holds it back, though, for me, is I do think it does get slow at points. And I do think it's a little too long. But other than that, all 3 of the central performances are great. I think the tennis sequences themselves are very well shot, especially by Luca Guadagnino. He did a great job with that. And overall, it was a great movie. I'm a little sad I missed out on it last year. Number 2, I have Fantastic Four: First Steps. And I actually watched this at Disney Springs, and I think this was the first Fantastic Four movie. I loved the cast, which going into the movie, I was expecting to love the cast too, because I was in the minority of people that actually enjoyed the casting choices they had with Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and forgive me, I don't know the actor's name that plays the Thing, because I don't watch The Bear, so keep that in mind. But all 4 of them did great. They nailed the 60s futuristic aesthetic. I loved how they used Galactus in the movie, and they finally did that character justice, unlike Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, where they made him a freaking cloud. Silver Surfer was cool. Julie Gardner did really good in that role too. And while there's not a whole lot of action, I think the action that you do get in this movie is solidly entertaining. As well, the mid-credit sequence is awesome. Where the movie lost me a bit, I do wish there was more action, because it is not a very action-centric movie. It's more kind of sci-fi, so I do admit it was very slow at points. You could feel it since there was no action in the movie. But still, it is a great Fantastic Four movie. But number one for me, I have probably it might end up being my favorite movie of the year. I don't know, we'll see, because Sinners I need to rewatch again just to see. But Superman I have at number one. I loved everything about this movie. I completely forgot like the nitpick I had with this movie originally when I reviewed it, because since I reviewed it, I actually saw it a second time with my dad, and I kind of loosely talked about it because my sister and my brother-in-law are coming over this weekend. I loosely talked about maybe seeing the movie with them a third time, because I actually really enjoyed this movie. I think this is easily, for me, one of the most comic booky movies that we have ever been made, where they feel like they just took the characters straight out of the comic book to screen. All the performances I thought were great with David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan, where both of them had really great chemistry with one another. Nicholas Hoult, I think, steals the show as Lex Luthor, and I think easily one of the best villains of the year thus far. The action is good. I think the music especially is fantastic. So overall, Superman as my most anticipated movie of the year, it did deliver. So that is the monthly check part done. Now let's talk about the overhaul that I have. So the new stuff I got this month. So a couple of the things are interesting. I'm going to save the big one for last, because that one I need to show off last, I think. No, actually, but you guys saw it in the Fantastic Four First Steps, the Fantastic Four ranking. So I might not show that off last. So when I went to see I Know What You Did Last Summer, they gave out these, so like these little 4 poster thingies. So like you see him, I Know What You Did Last Summer right there, and then they have those 2 things. That I think is really cool, and I was waiting to show this off so I can then hang up this on the wall, because I do think all 4 of these are pretty cool. So I'm glad I got this, because I did enjoy that movie, even though I am in the minority. Let's show off some posters. So I have the Together poster, and I apologize if it's a little crumpled up. I did get this at Disney World, where they let me get the posters, but I had to essentially put it in the bag with the popcorn bucket that I got, so it kind of got crumpled up. And then as well, I got the Smurfs poster, which, cool poster, but crap movie. As well, there is the, hold on, Naked Gun poster right there. Which, funny story with that one. So, usually with the AMC that I usually visit usually I was able to get away with everything. When a little earlier on, where they would essentially give you the stuff that you get just because you're seeing this movie. And then suddenly after that, for some reason, I would occasionally get yelled at for getting a poster, even though you're supposed to get them for seeing that movie. And then it kind of just happened over and over again. But then there's been some exceptions where they've let me, oh yeah, you can take the poster. There you go. And then this time around, just because I didn't want to get caught, I saw there were none of the employees around the Naked Gun poster thing that holds all the posters, so I just grabbed one. I was thinking about grabbing a second one, but I wasn't sure if they were going to turn around and see me, so I just took my chance and just took the one Naked Gun poster, so I could escape with it, so I wouldn't get yelled at or anything. So got that poster. Now we also have some books, which I'm not much of a book reader, but my mom got these for me. So I am a Goosebumps fan, so I got Goosebumps Welcome to Dead House right there. I as well got Goosebumps Slappy World, Revenge of the Invisible Boy, Goosebumps, The Ghost Next Door. And this is not Goosebumps, but it is a horror-themed book. Of course, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So, yes, not much of a book reader, but I did get those things. Some other movie merch I did get. So, when I saw Jurassic World Rebirth, I actually saw this, like, at a midnight screening. So, they gave you these keychain thingies. So, I thought these were quite cool, so I got that. Along with that, I also got these two things. So I have the T-Rex cup, which I do think is a little more cooler than the thing I'm about to show you. But for the popcorn bucket itself is a full-on handprint right there. Which I do think it is my least favorite popcorn bucket of the year. I just got it to be a collector. So I do think it is interesting that they have that as a whole entire platter thing. So this actually came in the other day. I have this Donald Duck huge stuffed animal where originally I have this Donald right here. And I've been always clamoring for like a big size Donald, and I finally got one. So yeah, and Donald Duck is actually my favorite Disney character. So of course, as well, you have the popcorn bucket that I showed off in the Fantastic Four ranking of Herbie, which I think is actually my favorite popcorn bucket of this year so far. I was looking over there because I have my popcorn buckets over there right now, and I think it is my favorite popcorn bucket. Let's, boom. So, I know you guys can't see it, but it actually reflects. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. Just watch the, Fantastic Four ranking, and you'll see, like, what it reflects. As well, it does play the main theme. So I think that is easily one of the best popcorn buckets of the year. I originally was planning to get the Galactus one. However, they were out of stock, which is crazy because the Galactus popcorn bucket was quite expensive, and people were already there like early in the morning to get them. Some physical media that I got from the family cabinet. I have the No Time to Die 4K, which I've only seen that movie once, but it was a good send-off for James Bond, I will admit. Fast X, which is the last Fast and Furious movie that came out, which I actually do enjoy. It's a B movie. It's self-aware what it is. Contagion, I have no clue what this is. I just thought it looked cool. The Guardian, it's okay. I don't hate it. It's entertaining. Some very good performances in that movie. And then the Fan 4-stick Blu-ray. While it is a crap movie, I think the Blu-ray itself is actually really cool, where they have this little booklet thing that shows you like the special features on how the movie was made and stuff. So yeah, I always thought that was cool, even though the movie's not all that great. Now we got the physical media that I actually bought. Here we go. Whew. So let's go small first. So let's talk about the Blu-rays. We got the, oh my goodness, that fell. Hold on. The Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the WWE Curse of the Speed Demon Blu-ray, which I still have not watched. Just got that to upgrade one of my WWE Blu-rays. I'm at DVDs, sorry. Alright, what's the next one? Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna put these on the floor because they're driving me nuts. The Ballad of Wallace Island Blu-ray is actually, this is a movie that came out earlier this year that I still have not watched, but I plan to before the year is over and done with, because I heard nothing but great things about this one, so I wanted to watch that. And I loosely talked about this movie earlier, but I got the Challengers Blu-ray just because I missed it. I'm a little shocked that it doesn't have a 4K or 4K Steelbook yet, though, I will admit. Then we also have the Superman animated movie Blu-ray collection. And, wait, is this right? Wait, no, it is not this. My bad. Hold on. I got confused. It is actually the Superman animated complete Blu-ray series right there. I do not know why I don't know why I left out this, but I completely got the wrong thing, so that was my bad. Whoopsies. Now we got also we got the It Ends With Us Blu-ray, which is one of the more underrated movies from last year. I never read the book, but it was actually quite solid when I watched it. 4K Steelbooks. All right. Let's start off small and then go big, I guess. First one I have is the Glory 4K Steelbook, which I've not seen, but I plan to watch it soon, so stay tuned for my Letterboxd review of that. Also got the Red Dawn 4K Steelbook, which I think this is actually a really great movie. I enjoy the remake as well, even though most people don't like that one, but I do enjoy the remake. The Smile 2 4K Steelbook, which I as well think is really cool looking, and I actually enjoyed this more than the first Smile, which I have yet to get the first Smile in the collection, but I will try to get that in there soon. One of my favorite movies of the year thus far, in the top 10 or top 15. That, of course, being Novocaine, which is the action movie with Jack Quaid where he can't feel pain. So I thought that was a fun little theater experience. And I got to review that one extra early, too. The Megan 4K Steelbook, which I actually think this one's really cool. It was actually only $18, which is absolutely crazy. Which was absolutely a steal, so I had to get it. Yeah, I still think that one's a little bit better than the first Megan. Second Megan, I should say. And then easily the biggest release of the month that I've gotten, I have the Thunderbolts 4K Steelbook, which this is actually my third favorite movie of the year. It might actually end up being my second, I don't know, or my number one. Depends on how many times I rewatch it. So, Thunderbolts 4K Steelbook right there. But with that being said, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this monthly check here. This birthday monthly check, I should say. Be sure to let me know your monthly checks down below. And sorry I messed up. I got the wrong Superman Blu-ray collection. It is what it is. And with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next one, everybody. Peace out.